Sorry about that. Try this again. Welcome to Drum Chat Hang, episode 6. Today will be, my guest will be Tucker Rule of Thursday. Just going to let it populate a little bit here and then we'll start. All right. Welcome to episode 6. Today I've got a special guest, Tucker Rule of Thursday. Pretty excited about that one. I'm just going to set this up a little bit better here. There, now everything should work just fine. Anyways, I'm Jeff. Welcome to Drum Chat Hang, episode 6. And today is going to be a really great show. I've got one of my favorite drummers, and I know I've said that almost every single time I've done this, but this one is yet another one that I'm really impressed with and have always been inspired by, and that is Tucker Rule of Thursday. Now, if you're not familiar with Thursday, Thursday was a hardcore band that was around during late 90s, early 2000s and on, and literally toured the world relentlessly and had a very interesting style that was different to a lot of bands in that genre and kind of scene. So I'm going to bring Tucker in right now and we'll get this going. All right, saying.
There he is.
What's up, man?
How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Sounds like
Say it again.
I think you have speaking on. Going on.
I don't think so. I just thought, yeah, it's on the phone. It was, yeah, I don't know.
Well, we'll work with it.
All right.
It's a bit of a delay.
Here, let me see if I can, let me turn the.
You got there, I think that worked.
Okay.
There it is.
All
Perfect.
right.
What did you do, just so I know for the future?
So I forgot to go on airplane mode and just use the Wi-Fi. I was using the phone and the Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's where it is. Ah,
yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
So now we know definitely that's the route.
I was worried to sign up just with Wi-Fi and then like have it not connect. So I'd rather connect and then fix it, you know?
Yeah, totally. I'm just going to make sure my volume's all the way up. There we go. Yeah, we're good. All right. So yeah, welcome to the show.
Thanks,
it's
man.
not much of a show. It's more of a hangout than anything. Hence the name Drum Chat Hang.
Well, I like to hang. So this is good.
There you go.
This works out perfect for me.
Right on. So you just finished a tour, like literally, like what, last week?
3 days ago. Yeah.
3 days ago.
Yeah.
Tell us about the tour.
It was awesome. It was my friend Frank Iero started a new version of his band called Frank Iero and the Future Violence, and we got invited to open up for Taking Back Sunday for the first leg of their American 20-year tour, where they're playing 2 records front to back, which is awesome. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was a really good
That's
time.
a band that definitely is awesome. Like Taking Back Sunday, that was my jam for quite a while.
Yeah, man, it's like
sure.
hits on top of hits on top of hits, and they're great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's the lineup they're running right now?
You mean like the dudes?
Yeah, like is it anybody from I guess one of the earlier records, or is it all just pretty much new guys, just a couple of dudes that have been there the whole time?
It's almost all the dudes that have been there the whole time. Sean Cooper on bass, Mark O'Connell on drums, Adam, of course, on the vocals, John Nolan on guitar, and then Nathan Cogan, who has been with them for quite some time, is now playing guitar.
Oh
So
wow. So yeah,
yeah,
Fred's nowhere on the roster.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh
no
well.
Fred, but
I
Fred's
like Fred a lot.
I still talk to Fred every once in a while. He's a great dude.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The environmentalist.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah. Right on. And you were using a Q drum kit on that tour as well?
Yes, that one I actually borrowed a kit from Q. As we didn't ship our gear out because the tour started in Houston. I used the galvanized steel kit, which was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
You know, Jeremy's got such a great thing going there with that company. It's pretty amazing what he's putting out. There's been a
absolutely.
lot of really cool stuff.
Everything is
Innovative.
pristine and like it's a piece of art. You know, every single kit
Oh yeah.
has its own piece of art. You know what I mean? You almost feel bad, beating the hell out of them. So it's kind of
Yeah. Now, for those of you who are watching that don't know, Q Drum is a California-based drum company that is specializing in more like obscure materials using like galvanized steel, copper, and stuff like that. And Jerry Berman is the main guy from there, and he came from Orange County Drums, which is, of course, the Travis Barker dynasty of drums. Even though there was a lot of other players that kind of make that company popular, he was the kind of the king of it. But yeah, now we're up to speed.
yeah. Jeremy, I mean that whole crew is awesome. Every single person that is involved with Q is just a good dude, good drum builder. I mean everybody's awesome. And right now, like the kit that I'm personally using is a copper kit, which is it's phenomenal. I've used it on a couple of records. It sounds amazing. And for the next
Wow.
upcoming headlining tour, I'm going to be using a mahogany kit, which I'm super excited about. So
Is that the mahogany poplar or the straight up mahogany?
it's a mahogany poplar mix. It's a kit that I've had for a couple of years now. It's just been in the UK and it's being shipped back. So I'm being reunited with it, which I'm pretty excited for.
That's exciting. That's like running into an old girlfriend or
I
something.
know, I know.
You're like, oh, I remember you. Yeah. It's funny how that is.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what are you using you're using Zildjian? Are you a Zildjian artist?
I'm a Zildjian artist for like 15 years now. Currently, with Frank, I'm using 24K Light Ride. That's like the main, my go-to. I'll use it forever. And then I'm using two of the Avidus as crashes. The one on my left side is 22-inch with rivets, and the one on my right is just a regular Avidus. Wow. And then I use 16-inch K-Light hats or the 16-inch Avidus hats.
Man, such big cymbals. Big cymbals.
I love them. I love them. It's like
it's
wobbly, and I don't know. It's just there's something about it that it's like, every hit feels like super lush.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Having seen you play lots and watched you over the years, I definitely see a connection between your hands and the cymbals. Literally, it feels like you go right into the cymbals, and it's like you're in it. So yeah, I can see why you'd like the large crashes and rides and stuff like that, just because you're gonna dig in.
Yeah,
and it feels more connected.
I just find them to be more versatile. You know what I mean? Because it's you can hit them as hard as you want, or you can graze them a lot. I've always loved big cymbals. I've always loved Will Goldsmith from Sunny Day Real Estate, and he played big cymbals, so I played big cymbals, and I just happened to never stop.
Well, if you've got your style, you got your style. I don't think it's a matter of stopping. It's who you are.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've tried to go. I've played quote unquote normal size cymbals before, and they're great. I'm a big cymbalsman.
Yeah. Now, do you think it's related to the size of your kit too? Like, what are your dimensions on the kit normally? Like a typical kit you have.
Typical kit is straight up bottom, 14-26 kick, 10x14 rack, 16-16 floor, and 16-18 floor, and then anywhere between like a 6 to a 7, or I should say 6 to an 8-inch snare by 14.
Yeah, just to give it that power. You see, that makes sense because the smaller cymbals don't sound good with big drums. When you have big drums, you need big cymbals. Otherwise, it just feels really kind of lopsided,
It does.
I guess is a good way to put it.
I just love the way a big drum kit plays. You know, it feels good to dig into. And I also love a 26-inch kick. And the 14 by 26, the way that it's just shallow, has a lot of punch, and especially from a player's perspective, it just sounds good.
Totally.
And that's as a drummer, that's what you hear. You don't get to hear yourself in front of house. You don't get to hear, you know, your kit from any other perspective than you behind it. And to me, that's what sounds best.
Well, yeah, if it sounds good for you, it'll sound good out front as well.
Exactly.
That's kind of a big thing.
Exactly.
That is a lot of guys approach that way. If it sounds good on your side, then it's going to sound good up front.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense. Yeah. So you're about to go on tour again, like right away here, right?
Yeah. I leave in 3 days or 4 days, something like that, to go to South America with Frank Iero and the Future Violence. I'm pretty psyched. I've been to South America before, a couple years back, and I had a really good time. So I'm looking forward to go back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it like how big are the shows? Like, is it club dates, or is it like arenas, festivals?
I think it's just clubs. It's going to be sweaty and small and crazy, and you know, everything that I'm used to.
Yeah. Now, would you say that you prefer, like, coming off of that Taking Back Sunday tour and then going to clubs? Because I'm sure in the States, Taking Back Sunday's tour is not club dates. It's like it's like larger shows, right? Like anywhere to 2,000 to 5,000 people. Or is it bigger than that?
Between 1,500 to 3,500 was the range, and I mean, I love those rooms. I've played most of those rooms with Thursday, so I'm you know, it's like a lot of House of Blues and stuff like that. They're always comfortable, nice dressing rooms, and you can actually shower.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also, right before this, the Frank Iero Taking Back Sunday tour, Thursday did its 20-year tour as well, and we did a lot of the small rooms that we did in the beginning. So I've kind of gone.
That's awesome.
This year already, awesome. I've kind of done both sides of the gamut, you know, like the larger shows and the smaller, like kind of more punk shows.
Yeah.
So like I'm at this point, I'm the game for anything.
Would you have like a preference? Like, do you prefer the smaller shows over the big shows, or do you find there's a disconnect?
The smaller shows are fun because everyone's a part of it, no matter what. Even if you don't want to be there, you're there. You know, and for a lot of those bigger shows, you know, you kind of have to play for the people in the back of the room as well, you know, which I always found to be fun. You know, I always like to try to play as good as I possibly can. You know what I mean? So, you know, you kind of go off and you have a good time, but you also have to be mindful of, like, hey, play your parts. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to show off here. We need to play the songs, and we need to give people what they want to hear, you know?
Yeah. That being said, like, do you guys use tracks at all, or is it just straight up like chord to amp and then go with what's going on?
For Frank, we're doing just straight up chord to amp, running a metronome for some stuff. With Thursday, there was a lot of times where our keyboard player Andrew couldn't make it, as he has like a successful business where he writes tunes for other people as well. So when he can't make it, we would have to we put his parts on track. And, you know, I would use Ableton and run the whole show, and which is fun too. It's another, you know, challenge, a weird hurdle.
Yeah, totally.
Like, what am I doing? You know, but either way is fun. Anytime it's a challenge, and I find every day getting up on stage to be a challenge. You know, if you're not challenging yourself, then why are you doing it?
That's the best part of it.
Yeah.
If you're not thinking out of the box, you might as well get out of the box.
Exactly. People always ask, like, oh, do you still get nervous? I'm like, yeah, every single time I get nervous, because you never know what to expect.
Yeah.
You know, you never know.
But I imagine it's a different nervous, I imagine, than say, like, your first show ever. It's a different nervous, right? Is it like more of an excited nervous, or?
It's kind of both, you know. You never know how your body's going to respond. You can do all the warming up or not warming up that you want. You know, it's your body. It depends on what you ate, you know, how you slept, all this stuff. It all goes into it, you know, especially I'm 40 now. So, you know, I have to kind of prepare to go to battle a little bit, you know, when I get up there.
Do you have like a ritual you do?
I usually shut down an hour before the show. You know, I kind of like, if I have family out or anything or friends coming to the show, I'm like, okay, if we're playing at 9, you know, you won't see me from 8 o'clock until showtime. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of go into the, you know, the dressing room and hit a pad and just do some rudiments. I walk around and just hit anything I can with sticks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I kind of just in a nervous energy, and, you know, there's no real ritual other than, like, I
No.
don't know, I do these weird things where I have to, you know, the pair of sticks that I bring up to stage right before I go on, I drop on the floor. You know what I mean? I pick up a fresh pair, and I always put my in-ear case underneath my right floor tom. Just the thing that I always do. So
Yeah, yeah.
those are kind of some of my weird things, you know.
That stuff's interesting because I mean everybody's got something that they do, especially when you're doing multiple dates and whatnot, and things become kind of routine that way, where you do the same things every day. One of my favorite things was actually taking a walk around the venue, either right before you go on or right after you go on, and sometimes both, depending on where and when.
That's cool.
So
I dig that. Yeah, because you know, like, a lot of these venues you don't get to see. They're, you know, sometimes they're like really beautiful theaters, so it's kind of nice to take a
yeah,
look more.
yeah, and I guess depends on how rough the neighborhood is where you're playing.
Yeah,
It'd
yeah.
be interesting. In being in punk rock as well, we don't play the high class rooms.
No, no, definitely not. You know, it's
Or
we
they're the
play.
high class rooms in the bad area of town.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, they don't
Yeah.
always put the loud you know, clubs in the nice neighborhoods. You know.
No, no, that usually never happens.
Yeah,
Ever.
right.
Right on. Well, do you have like going back to talking about doing tracks and stuff, like do you run the tracks yourself, or is there somebody who runs it off on the side for you, or how do you
I
do it?
mean, for Thursday we were running Ableton, and all I literally do is start and stop the songs. So it's nothing like, I'm not doing any of the complicated stuff. You know, I have
Right.
enough to worry about. You know, especially when we're playing small rooms. You know, it's kind of like the computers away from me. I trigger everything on an SPDX, a Roland SPDSX. Um, so that technical stuff is not what I'm doing. And when I was playing with Yellow Card, I would do the same thing. I would literally just hit spacebar, start and stop the songs. So it's not complicated. Fortunately, there's a couple people in my bands that have, you know, are really good with that stuff. So
Yeah.
I know the
I think
basics. I know
that's the
enough to
big.
get me by, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's always it always kind of baffles me when I see it because I do a lot of production work too, and I run into bands that are quite large, and you'll see, you know, like the SPDS on the left side near the hi-hat, or you also see like the laptop on the left. And I'm always kind of curious about what they're running on that because when I was running a drum shop, people would always ask me, and I never had a solid answer where I could be like, you know, this is it. This is the only thing that everybody uses because everybody's got a different kind of angle on it. So it's always interesting to find out uh, what route people are using to kind of do that kind of thing.
Well,
It's
I've
kind of
used
neat.
Ableton a few times, and I've noticed that it's kind of the most, like, foolproof. It's
Mm.
never really crashed on me. It's not, you know, and, you know, our keyboard player Andrew knows it very well, so it's easy for him to troubleshoot. And, you know, when he wasn't playing with us, if there was a problem, I would just call him, or Steve, our guitar
Yeah.
player, would just call him and be like, "Yo, what's going on here?" He would, you know,
we
just
we
like
need a
log into
bailout.
the band computer and fix it, and then miraculously we're back in action. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely, yeah, you need somebody who's definitely a solid force in nature in the computer world of that
just
stuff.
to troubleshoot, you know what I mean? Because there's so many times it's, you know, you get up there and there's like 10 minutes before you're going on. It's like, you know, you're already got this shakes, you know, and you're expected to, like, you know, I can't even
Yeah.
remember my
Nice
login to
type of
my
resume on a computer.
Gmail. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Do you find that it changes? Do you find that your natural flow changes when you're using like tracks versus non?
Yeah, I mean, there's a level of like focus that happens when you're playing to tracks or just playing to click track in general. Especially with tracks though, because if you go off the click track and you're just running click track, it's not a big deal. Nobody notices, you know. But if you're on tracks, that can get a little hairy. You know what I mean? So
Well, yeah, yeah.
the level of focus is a little bit different, and I tend to not enjoy it as much because I didn't get into music to have restraints. You know what I mean? To you know have a boss. You know what I mean? So a lot of times with the the tracks and stuff like that, you kind of have like a boss who's like kind of
Yeah,
like puppeting you around. So I find it fun to try to play around the click a little bit and not use it like not have it be the only thing I'm listening to, but I'm definitely mindful of it and I definitely want it to be as natural feeling as possible, but it definitely does take away a little bit of the unexpected energy and the bursts and the excited, because sometimes you're up there and you're playing the same song night after night, but sometimes it just feels slow. Even though it's the same
yeah.
tempo every single night, it just feels slower. It feels fast. So you don't get to use that energy as much when you're
That totally makes sense. Yeah, I can see how that would be for sure. The creative flow maybe is kind of changed too because yeah, you are performing on a grid, and
yeah.
yeah,
And a
and
lot of
with
times
the expectations, if you mess up or change something, it's going to be very noticeable.
exactly,
Yeah,
and I'm sure you've dealt with this as well. A lot of times, in this situations, I'm the only one that's hearing the tracks and the click. So I'm kind of wrangling the entire band at the same time.
yeah,
Like they have to listen to me, so I have to
yeah,
kind of steer this off this truck that's about to go off the rails. Which for something
yeah,
like Thursday was always fun because it was a band about like basically off the rails the entire time. Just
yeah,
like little fabrics keeping it together.
yeah. I definitely, I know, I can appreciate that for sure. That's cool. What are you using? You're a Remo guy?
I'm a Remo guy,
Word. So
always
am
and
I.
forever.
What's your go-to?
Right now for snare, I'm really I love the CS X, the control sound coded X black dot. I was an Emperor X for a long time, but I don't know. I like the thinner head these days for some reason. And also I have to hit it in the center because if I don't, I dent it. So it kind of makes me
Yeah.
focus a little bit more about, yeah, hey buddy, let's keep it in the center.
Well, I think what it probably is the snares that you're using, uh, they sound so good, and of course you want to get the optimal tone out of it, right? And I think the
Yeah,
heavier heads kind of mute it. That's probably what it is.
sort of. I mean, it's funny. It's I find it so different room to room. Some days I need two moon gels, some days I need none.
Right.
It's so weird. Like I can never, like I always, in my opinion, I always think I get my snares to sound pretty good, from a player's perspective. But I can never get it super dialed every single night the way that I want. And that's not just because that's not the head, it's not the snare. It's kind of just how I hear it. But
Totally.
that the two ply, the Emperor X, I love it, and it can go for like multiple shows. You can't if you break through that thing, you're swinging an axe or something. I don't know. But I've grown to like I think it's just the response I get off the CSX that I just like a little bit better right now. Next week I
Right.
could change back to an Emperor X. Who knows? It's kind of like, oh, well, this one's here. Let me just give this one a go again. But on the toms, I love the black dots. I used to be into the coated emperors, and I still love the coated emperors, but Jeremy kind of got me on these black dots, and I just can't stop using them.
Yeah. That seems to be that. I think that's his go-to head for all of his kits. Like it's almost like the kits are they sound. He's done enough research, I'm sure, to figure out which ones sound the best for the shells that he's manufacturing for sure.
Absolutely. And also, like,
Yeah.
I don't like to muffle the drums. You know, I don't, especially the toms. I like to play them wide open. And I feel like the dots just kind of do both. The dot is there for the durability, and it's also there to, like, kind of control it a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
I guess that's the name, control sound. Who knows?
Yeah, they're my go-to for sure for my snare. I like the coated reverse dot and just the regular control sound, not even the X, just regular control sound, and it works great.
But they're
And then I
awesome.
use a Ambassador X's on my toms.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the one ply, but the thicker one ply.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to murder anybody when I'm playing.
Yeah.
Well, always the thought, right? And that's what matters.
That's exactly, yeah.
Totally. So what else can we talk about? Are you using double pedal or single pedal?
Single pedal, always.
Hell yeah.
Never double.
No, not in like Slayer.
I just don't, I don't know. I'm the type of person that if I had a China and a double pedal, I would just hit them constantly. So I don't have a China, nor do I have a double pedal. DW5000 with the standard low boy beater. It's the best beater I've ever played. I don't know. I just love it. As soon as I got it, I was like, this is sick. Like, done.
Nice.
But yeah, I've always been like, you know, a fan of a single pedal, and, you know, double bass is cool, and I totally admire and respect people that can do it really well. You know, I'm just not one of those that's not in my taste, you know, but I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, fully. It is one of those things. Yeah, the same thing. I've never been a double. I had one pedal once, and it was like, geez, I was like brand new to playing shows, and I didn't, you know, understand the importance of packing up your gear right away, and it got stolen, and I never bought another one. So I didn't need it. Clearly, it was one of those things. It's gone now. I don't have the money to buy another one. Didn't need it.
The universe did you a favor.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, like, going back to hitting, like, using China too much and the double pedal. Like, I'm the type of person that if I'm early to sound check, I get yelled at, because I'll just go up and play. You know, I can't stop tapping if I'm behind the drums. So yeah, I think that more gear and more stuff would make me do more things, and probably not well. So I just stick to the simplicity of it.
That makes sense. You know, simple is always better. I mean, that's why 4/4 time seems to be the most catchy, because it's so, you know, primal, and it's, you know, not
and
overthinking.
it's hard enough. That's hard enough as it is, you know.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know,
so many people underestimate it.
Stay out of my own way.
Now, what kind of sticks are you using?
Oh, that's an interesting question that you just brought up, because I play 5Bs.
That's it.
Yeah.
You don't have a stick endorsement.
I do.
Okay.
But we're in between. We're in the in-between phase.
You mean negotiation, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so. I'll be switching to Vader if that's what you're asking.
Hey, welcome to the team. I'm on Vader as well. You know, the Power 5B is a great stick. When you do come over to the team, Power 5B, check those out for sure right away.
The thing is, I don't choke up.
Neither do I.
So for me, it's slightly too long. I like the standard 5B is the jam for me personally. I'm also small, so like I can only sit so far away from the drum before I actually will miss it. So.
True. Right on. You want to tell us about the Seth Meyers gig?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
massive honor. Totally fun, totally stressful, but in like the best way possible. Like stressful in a way that it's a big responsibility and you want to do a good job. You know, it's
Mhm.
television. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and you're expected to live up to a quality that you know you've been asked there for. So it's you really want to deliver, and it was great. The band is amazing. They're all wonderful people, wonderful players. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. It was everybody on the you know, the whole crew is so nice, and um, it's very fast paced, and you know it's but they make it a lot of fun and
Yeah,
relevant.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems to. I was talking to Ben Caesar a little while ago on this little show that I have,
Yeah.
and we were talking about how that seems to be one of the few opportunities as drummers, especially known drummers, to be featured on TV in such a way that you're like really recognized for who you are and what you do, you know?
It's
I
so
mean,
cool.
David Letterman used to do something similar, but
Yeah.
with him not being on regular television or doing that kind of thing, even on Netflix or whatever, he's the only one is Seth Meyers. So
Yeah.
really,
And that's
you know.
like Eric Lederman is he's the dude that is behind it all, and he's really doing a great thing for, like you said, for drummers. And you know, he's a big drum fan, and he knows his stuff. You know, he's a drummer himself, and um, yeah, it's funny. It's, you know, a lot of people that don't watch that show are like, oh, really? So you're going to be a guest on there? And it's like, no, not a guest. It's like I'm on there for the week, you know, and sitting
Yeah.
in with the band, and it really is a great opportunity, and it's being a drummer is cool and it's fun, and we have this awesome community. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think
Mhm.
there's a lot of this in the guitar world community. You
You
know
know
what I
what?
mean?
That's come up almost every single time I've done one of these. That it's true, man. There's not that sense of community, and there's not that sense of competitiveness. You
Yeah,
know,
we are.
there's not really a competitiveness in drumming. We're more of a supportive network than a competing network.
I mean, I grew up watching drummers, you know. I never really took lessons, so I would go to hardcore shows and I would watch drummers, and that's how I learned, you know. So I never would, I can't imagine competing with another drummer, you know what I mean? Because I'm still trying to grab and like pull all the bits of information from watching it happen right in front of my eyes, you know. And I've always been a fan of that, and I've always been a fan of the people that do it, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, totally.
I can't imagine learning another way. I mean, I wish I took lessons as a kid, you know, to learn proper technique and not to go through years of just like punishing the drums with my, you know, bloody knuckles. But I'm really glad that I learned by watching and taking it in. And I just, and having a community that is warm and open like that is amazing. And having an outlet like Seth Meyers' late night show is awesome. You know, it's really kind of like a badge that you can wear. Like, holy shit, I can't believe that I just got asked to do this. You know what I mean? Which
Well,
is,
yeah, the guys they've had on there, it's insane. It's insane. They like so like huge level,
it's
like
crazy.
huge level.
It's crazy. And
Yeah.
then like, there's all those dudes, and then my photo. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? Can you say
Oh
that?
man, I remember when Ben Caesar did it. Of course, he told me he was going to do it, and I sort of watched it, and I was like all about it, and I was like every single commercial break, I'm like, oh, that's it? That's all it is? It's like the intros and outros?
Yeah.
Ah, so I set my PVR and recorded all of them because you had to, and then try to cut it down to like, okay, 10 minutes of just drums.
Yeah. It's
But yeah, I mean, it's incredible to see how many people are on there and how much like variety. I mean, Todd Zuckerman just did it recently as well, and you know, like Joey Costello did it, like
yeah, you have all these
crazy.
monster players, all these
Everything.
absolute monster players, and it's, and everybody, you know, there's not a person that's been on that show that doesn't say the same thing that I have, that it's been like a great time and a really amazing experience. and I would totally
Oh
do
yeah.
it. And all of these people, I'm sure, would totally do it again in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Who
it's
wouldn't?
fun, and it's also like when you're finished, you're like, I did it without any massive catastrophes. You know?
Yeah, that would be the first thing to think about for sure. Yeah.
But
I mean, the pressure's on that, right? I mean, you only got so much time, and as Ben was saying, the cut times aren't on the 1 or the 4. It's
yeah,
like it ends when it ends.
well,
So
you
you got to
have to
figure out how to.
you have to kind of watch, like when you're playing a guest on, like to come on to, you know, to be interviewed. It's like you have to start to fill when they're about to sit, and then you finish it between the time that they sit and then Seth sits. So it's like
Yeah.
it's like this really weird dance that, you know, if you overthink it, you're gonna mess it up. You just kind of have to be like, okay, they're sitting, and you're done. You know what I mean? You kind of breathe through it. That being said, I'm still not good at it. You know what I mean? Every time it happened, I was like, oh my God, thank God. I can't believe that worked.
It makes you appreciate the guys that are like on late night, like Max Weinberg doing the whole thing for Conan and all that for so many years.
It's
It's
incredible.
yeah, it is hard.
It's an art. It really is. And I mean, like,
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It's so much fun, and if you take it way too seriously, you kind of lose the magic of it. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely took a minute to, like, during commercial break, to like look up at the ceiling and like take it all in and be like, oh, this is cool. I'm here. You know what I mean? That kind of calmed me down. I also had somebody say like, hey, are you nervous? I'm like, yeah. I'm freaking out a little bit. And they were like, well, you know, why are you nervous? It's like the only thing you're good at. And I was like, that's a strange underhanded compliment.
That almost sounds mean.
Yeah, but they were right in that instance. I was like, you know what? This is what I do. Yeah, I should be able to do this. I shouldn't be that nervous. Yeah. Like, I can do this. Like, I'm decent.
Straight up, he's only going to invite you if he knows that you can do it. He's not going to set you up for failure. He invited you because he knows you can do it.
Yeah, exactly. He's
you know?
Not like, oh yeah, let's have this, you know, whoever, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely something I do. So that calmed my nerves. Strangely enough, that was like, oh yeah, this is kind of the only thing I'm pretty much good at right now. So let's nail this, you know.
Yeah, totally. Do you have like do you have a tech that you use on the regular? Like, do you have a tech that travels with you?
I don't.
No.
I have had friends help me out before, but a lot of the people that I've had in the recent years have been like, you know, stage managers who will like set up. You know,
yeah.
I've always been the person that comes in and fiddles with the drums, tunes the drums, and all that stuff. Like, I don't know if I'd ever be able to like let that go.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't say that I enjoy it. It's just something that to me, it's part of the job.
Yeah.
And I show up for it,
totally.
you know, so, but yeah, I've had, you know, my friend Patty was awesome. You know, I've had a lot of great dudes. My friend Rhino was amazing. Yeah, I've had some friends help out, but for the most part, it's you know, like lately, it's been me setting up, me breaking down, you know, solely.
That's cool. That's a real, you know, punk rock ethic kind of thought, that I want to touch my own stuff if I'm playing it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it does get a little exhausting when you've like just played you know, an hour and 15-minute set, and you're like, you want to die, but then you have to like, somebody's already taken your drums and put them outside. You know what I mean? So you have to like follow them outside in the cold and like wipe them down and case them up, and you're like half naked, you know?
Yeah.
That's when I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? But
yeah,
you know, it's part of it, you know?
yeah, totally. I can see how that would be. Yeah. Definitely questioning things for sure.
Yeah, they're like, sure. Oh, this turns into a club night 10 minutes from now, so we got to get you scumbags out of here.
You still run into that? The club's turning into a club after the show?
Not so much, but here and there.
Oh man.
Yeah.
We had I play in a band called Bad Habits Die Hard, and we opened up for Comeback Kid a little while ago, and literally the show started, like doors were at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and we were on at 6:15, and then the other bands played, and then Comeback Kid played. Whole thing's done by like 9:30 because the bar was turning into a dance club after.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just like, there's back several years ago, you'd never see that. That wouldn't happen. This was the night. This is what you're doing tonight.
Yeah. Like,
it seems like the focus has changed. So
back like in the hardcore days, like you're talking about, that's like we used to ruin the clubs.
Yeah.
We used to destroy the room, tear shit apart. And how are they gonna put it all back together for this club night?
No.
It's funny that you're talking about early. Like I played a show last summer. I was filling in on the drums for my friend Chris, who plays in this band Primitive Weapons, and we were opening for Quicksand and Glassjaw, and we played Philly, and we literally played at 5 p.m. Like there were people that were still. It was like a Wednesday night too. There were people that were still at work. Like friends, like I can't see you play because I'm like still at work.
Yeah. My favorite is get the text. You've been off the stage for like 15-20 minutes. Hey man, can't wait to see you play tonight.
Yeah.
And they have no idea. You don't want to even tell them. Yeah, don't even bother. It's already done.
Yeah. You might as well check.
You're not even off work yet. Yeah. It happens. It happens. Do you miss playing like hall shows, like the old school kind of hall shows, like the ones you would have went to when you were starting out or watching the hardcore shows back in the day?
I mean, yeah, I definitely miss those because it was such an unknown. You know what I mean? Like I feel like those were the days where, I don't know, people were there whether they liked the band or not. You know what I mean? It was just like a thing to do, and like you could either like make them into like liking your band or it was or not.
Yeah.
So you could really see it kind of happening before your eyes, and you could feel the energy in the room, which was cool. And I think that's kind of like missing from, at least from my life now, being a musician. But I mean, still, these small shows still give you those same kind of feelings, you still feel that energy and all that stuff. And, but it's definitely different. Yeah. I mean, I miss those shows. I miss sitting in a parking lot all day long, waiting to play, that was definitely a good time.
After driving several hours in a 15-passenger van.
Exactly. Before cell phones were a thing,
Yeah. Trying to steal Wi-Fi or whatever.
Yeah.
Or whatever you could get.
This was like pre-internet too, stuff that we were doing back in the late 90s, just calling the kid in the morning on his house phone and being like, "Hey, we'll be there in 10 hours." He's like, "Yeah, all right, we'll be there," and you're just driving and like hoping that this place exists and hoping that it's not some kid's fucking living room like it has been a few times where the parents answer the door and you're like, "Oh," like,
"Yep,
I'm gonna load these dirty drums into your kitchen right now. Hope you don't mind."
And the mom's like, "I made you guys some food."
Yeah. And you're like, "Oh, okay, this is gonna be weird."
Yeah, totally.
But I mean,
totally.
It's a story,
What's the weirdest? What's the weirdest one for you?
That one.
That one? Okay, tell us again. Back it up. Tell the whole story.
I don't even remember where it was, but we definitely like showed up after driving probably 10 or so hours to this kid's house, and it was supposed to be like a show, but it was really just a high school party. Like there was no like, these weren't like scene kids. Like the person whose house it was, he seemed like he was into like punk, hardcore, that kind of music. But the rest of the people were just like, quote unquote, normal, everyday people who had no idea that hardcore music existed. You know, and his parents are in the other room. You know, it was super weird. Like I just remember playing and then like packing up, and like I remember the last thing that went into my hardware bag at the time was my snare drum stand, and I was so happy to see it because I knew that as soon as that went in the bag, it could go in the trailer and we could leave.
And what band was this?
That was Thursday.
That was Thursday?
Yeah.
So is this like the beginning of back, way, way back?
Yeah, this was like 98.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which to me feels like 86 right now, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Me too.
But those were fun times, man. That was a good time. That unknown of like, where are we going? What are we doing? You know, and who's going to be there, and are we going to know anybody like that? There was something really magical about that, and the fact that our parents allowed us to do that is crazy, you know, but
yeah.
Thank you, Ma.
That is so true. I mean, with the way parents are now, in the helicopter parenting and all that, I wonder if that's a big reason why people aren't playing music the way they used to. You know, besides it being so, everything being such an instant society where, you know, if you're not good in the first 5 minutes of doing something, you're going to quit it because you'll never be good at it, you think.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
It's crazy, man. Like, I just seeing, like people that I've never even heard of before are, like, quote unquote famous, you know what I mean? It's crazy to me, like, that people have never... I mean, everybody's got it rough. Everybody has a story, and you know, I'm not trying to compare, you know, some SoundCloud kid to myself. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, I just remember it being so hard to get people to listen to music, and so hard to kind of like. I mean, back then, like a flyer or like a CD, selling a CD was basically a flyer for a show. You know what I mean? Like. We weren't selling CDs to like SoundScan to like sell 500,000 records. We were selling CDs so kids would remember. So next time we came through, they would come to the show. You know what I mean? And like now you can just set up a camera in your bedroom, you know, and play along and do a drum cover, and you're like the next big thing. And more power to those people too. That's I don't have time for that shit. I wish I did. I wish I was good at that stuff, but I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's it's such a different world. You know, and like I said, like booking shows without a cell phone, and it, you know, thinking about it now, like my wife and I went to a winery the other day. I don't even drink, but like I had to use the restroom, and I lost everyone in the group, and there was no service because we were underground, and I like had like a nervous breakdown. I'm like, how am I gonna ever find my wife ever again? She's gone. Like, I'm in this castle and she's gone. I'm never gonna see her again. I'm gonna start a new life, you know. All because I
this is where I live now.
Yeah, this is where I live. I'm in this dungeon now. I'm gonna be pale, never gonna see the sun again. But yeah, just being without the phone, without service for like that little, not even minuscule tragedy, you know. I was like, I just can't imagine.
Just enough to like rock you to the core.
Oh yeah. Like what did I ever do without a phone, you know?
Yeah. So. Well, you know, even like you were saying, like touring back before the internet was like really of any use or even really known. Booking shows too was a huge challenge because you had to get the person on the phone.
Yeah.
So you're hoping that the person's number doesn't change and that they're actually going to be near the landline or whatever.
Yeah, they had to be home to receive the call.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, when you think about that, like, how the hell did anybody tour? Like, how did that, and then you look at this now, you look at it now and it's like, holy crap. I contacted 45 people with one email. And now we've got 26 shows potentially booked, and this is happening, you know?
Totally. Yeah.
That kind of thing. It's pretty crazy when you compare the two. And I I don't know if this is an accurate statement or not, but I think that was a character builder in relating to people. And I don't think that um, I think that it's starting to get lost for like the new guys that, the Insta kids for one thing.
Yeah.
Uh, they don't understand, communication and they have or maybe they understand it even more.
Yeah.
It's like it's confusing right now because like you, I'm in my 40s and looking back at looking at a big comparison of everything like that, it's really hard to say where I would be as a player if I had the access that they have access to now, and you as well. I mean, you could dig up anybody you want now and watch them play and then reach out to them like this.
Yeah.
And have a dialogue and really get to know, where the thoughts are. And that's so valuable.
It really is.
And
I mean, I like a lot of those touring friends that I had back in the day before phones and stuff are still my friends now because we actually started a relationship like verbally in contact.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, the connection.
And now like even recently, like anytime we're like, all right, we have a day off, we're gonna do a band dinner. 90% of the time we're all like this, like sending a fucking meme or something to the dude who's right next to me.
Yeah.
And then like waiting to see his reaction to the stupid meme. Like he's right there. Yeah. I'm like
you can just turn your phone and show it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird. It's both uniting people and kind of, I think, isolating people at the same time. Like you said, like at the table, like you're isolating each other even though you're in the same room.
Yeah.
But,
and I'm super confused because I'm trying to do like half and half. It seems like I'm trying to be cool on social media, trying to be cool in real life, and like all of a sudden I'm like looking at my my wife's like, dude, can we have like a dinner where no one looks at our phone? I'm like, oh, and I like reach for it. I'm like, don't touch that phone. So
yeah, you should almost get like they up here in Canada. They have this place called Mountain Equipment Co-op, and they have these things called a phone safe. And the phone safe is for like when you're canoeing and stuff like that. And it's like a Ziploc pouch that you put your phone into.
Oh yeah.
Maybe what you need to do is just get like one of those that holds two phones.
Yeah.
Put them both in there, and then like put it in the car.
What a sad world we live in.
But yeah, like you said, like without it, you feel like you're disconnected and like, oh my God, the world's gonna come to an end.
And like especially for text messages, like I have my read receipts on. You know what I mean? So if like someone texts me and I read it, I'm like, shit, now I have to write back. Like I did that purposefully. So like I write people back because I could definitely go on, on the not writing people back tip. And I don't want to be that person. So
yeah,
I definitely feel that pressure if somebody texts me that I have to text them right back.
Yeah, I suffer from that too.
Yeah.
Email, all of it, man, any of it. And it's stupid.
Yeah, and I also have to have my phone zeroed out. Like, if there's any red dot on my phone, I'm like, ooh, I gotta get rid of that red dot. Even if that means, like, reading a difficult email, I'm like, okay, gotta get rid of that red dot. Gotta read that difficult email.
Yeah. So, talking about relationships and whatnot. Yeah. Now, this is always an interesting take on things. Like, when you're on tour, your wife, she had like, I assume has a day job and a life on her own.
Yes.
Now, what kind of challenges have you faced with playing like lots of dates out of town and whatnot? How do you recommend to keep that relationship strong?
I mean, it definitely doesn't get easier.
No.
You definitely just get a little bit better at it,
Right.
And I mean, we still struggle. We try to go no more than 2 weeks without seeing one another. So if we're like in a place where, you know, on a weekend she can come out like to kind of a cool city, she'll fly out. You know what I mean? But
Right.
like, I always like, I'm like, oh, why don't you take a few days off? Like, take a few vacation days and come see me. She's like, because I don't want to waste my vacation on going to some club with you where we're gonna stare at the backstage. Because for me, I tend to be annoying and not like to leave the bus or the venue. I mean, I get off the bus and go exploring, but I don't like to be away from the venue or anything for too long. Like
Mhm.
I start to think like, what if they need me? What if I need to move my drums? What if I, you know, all this
Yeah.
stuff that is ridiculous goes through my head. But anyway, that's a side note. Yeah, I don't know. FaceTime helps a lot. Also, I was so anti using those damn earbuds to talk on the phone, but now I use them all the time, and I find that helps. And I mean, I really don't have any creative ways to keep it to make touring life easier in a relationship. It's just you just kind of have to make time for the person. You know what I mean? Like whatever
Yeah.
you're doing, you know, might be exciting as hell, but you have to like take a minute to be like, okay, let me. This right now is just right now. You know, hopefully the wife is forever. You know what I mean? So
Totally. Totally. Yeah. That's the end goal for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah. It's always interesting because again, like I think a lot of people that don't tour or play music or whatever on a regular basis understand how hard that is, how hard it is on a relationship, and how much of a challenge it can be to kind of not let it be something that kind of hinders the relationship, you know?
yeah.
It's pretty common for, failed marriages and relationships in general due to like a tour schedule or, whatever else is going on with playing and whatnot.
It's crazy. The whole thing is difficult. Like the week before you leave is difficult. You know what I mean? Because you're both stressed and you know she's worried and you're like worried as well and you're like trying to pack and you don't know what to pack and then you're like so that's like chaotic. And then the week you get home, you're like still living out of your suitcase. All your shit is everywhere, you know, and you're like trying to get used to
Yeah.
being home and you're, you know, essentially kind of re-getting to know each other, you know,
Hmm.
because now you're invading, you know, her or his space, you know, when you come back home. If you like, I've been away for 3 months. This is the first day that I've been back home for 3 months, you know,
And we're doing this.
and we're
Oh
doing this,
man.
which is fine, which is great, but my shit
You,
is
you
still
tell her I'm
everywhere.
sorry. You tell her I'm sorry.
My shit is everywhere. You know what I mean? Like you know,
Yeah.
she's gonna come home and it's gonna look like you know an explosion happened in the apartment.
Yeah.
You know, but we've been doing this long enough that you know she's a saint, so
That's awesome.
it works out. But it's not only being on tour is hard. It's like gearing up to leaving, getting back home, and relearning each other, and you know learning. Even for me, it's just like I live in Brooklyn, and the neighborhood changes weekly. So going for 3 months and coming home, it's like where did that go? You know, or you know,
Yeah.
it's just it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty crazy stuff, man. It is crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Right on.
And you got to be a
I
lunatic
think,
to do it, but hey,
you know, I think there's so much that you get from music, from playing, that when you take a break from it, you really realize how much you got from it. And then you realize that that's who you are and you can't do it any other way. So yeah, it is crazy, but at the same time, without it, it's crazy as well.
dude, I've
You know?
tried to get regular jobs. I've tried to be like a normal member of society. It just, I don't know. I just keep getting sucked back into music, and you know, especially drums. Like even if I'm not playing in bands, I still play drums. You know what I mean, on my own or not.
Right.
But like, I don't know. There's just something about the day being like, I don't know. Again, on tour, like most of your day is kind of shit. You know what I mean? You're kind of just waiting
Mhm.
around. You're like, I don't know, bored, and then you get this, you know, 30 minutes or an hour and 30 minutes, however long it might be, and it's like the best time of your life. even if you don't feel like doing it. There's days that I don't feel like going up there, you know, and I kind of like get up there and I sit down and I'm like, holy shit, this is so sick. You know, like no matter what, that moment always kicks in, you know, and that's kind of what draws you back.
Yeah. Was doing the big anniversary tour like really super emotional for you? Like, did you find it was like hitting you all in the spots that you remember when you started?
Not really.
No?
Yes, it was, but thinking about it now, yes, it was. But in reality, when we were living it, the tour was so long that you, at a certain point, you're kind of, you know, you go in autopilot, you know, where you're excited to be there and you realize the gravity of it and all, and it's a big deal for you as much as it is for the people who have listened to you. Because again, those are the people that make your world go round. You know what I mean? Like, those are the people that keep you doing what you're doing. But it is, you know, when you're playing an old record that you wrote when you were 20, you know, there's a lot of times when you sit up there and you're like, man, why did I play that? You know, and then you want to change the part, but you can't.
But you can't.
Because like, I was talking about this with Mark O'Connell the other day from Taking Back Sunday. It's like people want to hear the same fills on the record live. They don't want to hear you like play some stupid new fill that you learned. You know what I mean? Like you've been working on in your fucking garage. Like they want to hear the fill from that record, you know. So you play that fill, you know. So when you're up there playing songs from 20 years ago, you're just like, well, you know, it's fun, but it's definitely not what I'd be playing now. But you know, you make it fun. You play it with intensity, you know.
That'd be a huge challenge to do that. Like, I mean, I fortunately and unfortunately, I don't have to play the shit that I used to play when I was 20. I mean, I don't know which side it is on, whether it's a fortunate thing or unfortunate, but really, you know, because I sucked when I was starting out, man, it was awful. So that's probably why I don't have to relive that, but at least you got a higher benchmark, so it's not that bad.
I mean, thankfully, I had good players around me. You know what I mean?
There you go.
To help me kind of challenge me.
Speaking of good players around you, like, when you're choosing a project, what is the one thing that is kind of like you've got, you know, offers to try different projects like this new project that you're in now, and like the Wanted and stuff like that. What kind of gravitates you to a new project?
Well, for something like for Frank, for example, Frank and I have been friends for 164 years. So like that was easy, and I've always respected Frank, you know, and he's
now where's Frank from? Just so everybody knows here.
Frank and I grew up near each other in New Jersey, but Frank used to play in a band called My Chemical Romance, and they were pretty big at one point. And Frank has had this is the third version of his solo project. So it was, the first version was, I believe, Frank Iero and the Celebration. Then there was Frank Iero and the Patience. And now this new version is Frank Iero and the Future Violence. And I've just always respected Frank as an artist, as a musician. And, you know, he's just great. He's a great dude. Like, there's just no bones about it. And I enjoy being friends with him. So to be able to do both, you know, play music and be friends at the same time is really great. So, I mean, that's something, you know, that immediately when Frank asked me, I was like, yes. Like, where's practice? How do I get there? Send me directions. You know what I mean? Other stuff, it's kind of like, you know, like with the Wanted, it was a person that who asked me to do it with somebody I really respected in the industry. You know, they weren't necessarily a musician. It was just a person that I had worked with before, who worked at a label, who I just thought was amazing. You know, and I just really respected his. You know, if he said it was cool, I was like, I'm down. You know,
that's awesome.
And with Yellow Card as well, it's like I had known some of those dudes for a long time. You know, and I wanted to be a drummer again. You know, that was around a time where the Wanted had broken up, and, you know, I had kind of had no, like Thursday wasn't doing anything, you know, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to get a regular job right now because no one's, you know, beating the door down, you know, knocking on my door for gigs. So, you know, and then this came along from my friend Arun, actually, from Saves the Day, was like, yo, would you mind if I gave, you know, Ryan Key your number to, you know, maybe you'd want to try out for Yellow Card. They're looking for a drummer. And I was like, yeah, sure. You know, just thinking, yeah, might as well give it a shot. You know what I mean? And flew to LA and went to SIR and actually tried out, which I didn't know that I was trying out. Not that I'm above trying out. I don't think that, but I kind of just went like, oh, we're going to jam, you know? And I didn't realize that I was trying out. And I guess I beat all these people and I got the gig, which was cool. Beat all these people. I was the right fit. So that was cool. I mean, like, again, I like playing everything, you know what I mean? If it's a challenge to me and I want to do it, you know, I've always been the fake it till you make it kind of person, you know, where it's like, hey, can you play this style of music? Oh, hell yeah. And you're like, I don't think I can, but I'm gonna try, figure it out. Again, this is the only thing I'm good at, so.
Nah, that's cool, man. That's cool to be humble about it for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're at the hour and 9 minute here, so if you probably need to get back to hanging out with your wonderful wife. I think that's a good idea.
But I appreciate this, man. This was fun.
As your new counselor in your relationship, this is your orders. And I gotta go and get hanging out with mine as well because she's upstairs going, all right, you almost done yet? All right, I'm like, you know, like hang out a little bit, you know.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. She's probably watching right now. She's like, don't talk about me anymore.
If I'm ever invited to like a drum thing, I always ask my wife, I'm like, hey, you want to go? And she's like, absolutely not. Like the last thing I want to do is go anywhere where you're going to talk about drums.
It's like the old, you want to go to the drum shop?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no.
No. See you in a week.
I'll ask her, I'll be like, hey, I want to get new drums. What do you think of this color? And she's like, no. She's like, I like the black on black. I'm like, I don't like the black on black. I want cool. Yeah, whatever. But anyway, thank you. I really appreciate this. This was fun.
Hey, man, totally. Thank you for making time in your busy schedule. And yeah, I mean, it means a lot. I've been watching you for a long time, and this project here is all about connecting with people that are our fans with the people that I have on, and creating that community a little bit more. You know, I'm way up in Canada, so it's a little harder for me to get out to see you in the Bronx or wherever else. You know.
Well, this has been great, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I wish you luck with this because it's actually pretty awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been great. We had Chris Hornbrook on last week. That was pretty fun.
Good dude.
Love that guy.
Yeah, it's a good dude.
We're working on the whole Q drum, crew here. We got to get Alan on here eventually.
Knocking them down one by one.
Chop suey.
Yeah.
Well, you have a great tour, and again, thanks for being my guest.
Thanks again.
And I'm going to do a quick sign out here and get on with it.
Awesome.
This week I've got Aaron Edgar on the show next Tuesday. So tune in Tuesday. That'll be at 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. And again, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
All right.
Cheers.
Thanks, man.